My speech is about the Second Amendment and why it is so important. We have many amendments and rights as an American citizen. Those rights range from freedom of speech, the right to own property, and the right to buy and own guns. Many people don't agree with that last one, but that's okay because not everyone has to. Some people want to get rid of the Second Amendment and want to take away the people's rights to bear arms and protect themselves. But today I'm going to tell you why it is so important to have the right to bear arms and what its purpose is. It's important that the people have the right to defend themselves and their loved ones and their property no matter the cost, even if it means to take up arms. In 1791, the United States added the Second Amendment to the Bill of Rights. The purpose behind creating a right like this was so that if there were any threats towards America and the people, that those people have the right to defend themselves from threats foreign and domestic. During this time period, it was also created that if necessary, the people could take up arms against a tyrannical government, meaning the people were allowed to fight back against the government if it was truly needed. This amendment is one of the most important ones that we have in the Bill of Rights. Without it, what are those people supposed to do when a terrorist comes knocking on their door to try to hurt them or take away their freedom? This terrorist doesn't even have to be from a foreign country. It could be a domestic terrorist, one from our own country. It is essential that we, the people, have the right to do so. If the time comes, we have to defend ourselves and our country here at home. I'm going to give you some examples of times when the Second Amendment is important. Over this past summer, my grandma's garage was recently broken into, and her house was almost broken into. My grandma is 60 years old and can't really move all that well. She lives alone and has no one to protect her other than herself. My grandma also owns a handgun, which if that robber were to have gotten into her house, that handgun would have been her only line of self-defense. Now you're probably wondering, well, she could have just called the police, right? Yes, she could have, but it was in the middle of the night and my grandma lives on the bad side of town. And as unfortunate as it is, we live in a society where sometimes the pizza guy gets to your house faster than the police do. If my grandma were to have called the police, the robber could have easily broken into her house and hurt her before she even got the chance. But thanks to her right to own a handgun, she could have easily defended herself if it were to come down to that. Here's another example on why the Second Amendment is also important. Law enforcement can't always protect you. A reporter from the West Virginia Gazette wrote an article last year in 2019 stating that every citizen has a natural right to defend themselves, which means as a human being or an American citizen, we also have the right to bear arms. Yes, we do have police officers, but there are more criminals than cops in this world, unfortunately. When there is a threat amongst American society, the police are first, the military is next, and if those two don't work, then it's up to the people to defend America and themselves. Some people disagree with all of this and say that the police are there to protect us and that it's their job and the military's job. They will also use gun violence as a way to discourage the Second Amendment and discourage people from using their right to bear arms. But that's not guns that's killing people, it's the people behind the guns that are killing people and causing chaos. Now, according to the American Public Health Association on gun violence does in fact kill more than 38,000 people per year and injure more. But gun control doesn't always work. No matter what criminals do, they will still have guns and will still use them wrongfully against people, even if we ban them. If they take away the people's right to own guns for self-defense, then they have no way of defending themselves from those who use guns illegally and try to hurt them. All in all, the Second Amendment is vital to American protection because without it, the people have no way of defending themselves from those who want to do harm to them or other people. To take that away would be devastating to those who use them for good and for protection, like my grandma who has no other protection other than her handgun. It is essential that we keep that right for the American people, as it is a God-given right to protect us and defend ourselves in any way that we, the people, or any people, see fit to do so. That's why the Second Amendment is so important.